The 8 universes in your head, a post-quantum explanation for interdimensional UFOs. Imagine that right now, as you listen, you are living in not one, but 8 parallel timelines at the same time. 8 versions of you. 8 versions of Earth. All touching each other along invisible seams made of pure light. And sometimes, something slips through the seams. This is not science fiction. It is the direct consequence of 3 of the most radical ideas in modern physics and consciousness research. First, Roger Penrose's hidden 8-dimensional geometry of spacetime. Second, Jack Sarfatti's claim that your thoughts are real fields that can push back on your own brain. Third, Jacques Vallée's 50-year conclusion that many UFO encounters are not from another planet, they are from right next door, in a place our minds were never designed to see. In the next 30 minutes we are going to wire these 3 ideas together and show how the high strangeness people report in close encounters might literally be consciousness bleeding between 8 intersecting universes that already exist mathematically inside your skull. Let's begin with the forgotten 8th dimension. In ordinary 4-dimensional spacetime, 1 time, 3 space, the full symmetry that keeps light cones looking like light cones is called so, 2-4. It lives in a flat 6-dimensional space that has 2 time-like directions and 4 space-like ones. Now go up 2 dimensions, a 6-dimensional spacetime with 1 ordinary time and 5 ordinary space directions. Its conformal group becomes so, 2, 6, and it lives in a flat 8-dimensional arena, 2 positive signatures, 6 negative. 8 coordinates. If you take the projectivized light cone in that 8-dimensional space and perform a stereographic projection from each of the 8 possible poles, 1 pole for each coordinate axis, you obtain exactly 8 overlapping copies of perfectly normal flat spacetime, each with 1 time and 5 space dimensions. Each copy looks like a complete universe. Each intersects the others across vast overlapping regions. Every light ray in one universe is shared with the others along the boundaries. Penrose noticed something quietly terrifying. The algebra that runs these 8 universes is built on split octonions, an 8-dimensional number system that deliberately breaks the rules of ordinary multiplication. It is the only algebra physicists have ever found that is big enough, and strange enough, to let consciousness do things causality normally forbids. So the 8 universes are already there, mathematically. The only question is whether a human mind can ever feel more than one of them at once. Enter Jack Sarfatti. Sarfatti says the reason you have an inner life at all, the redness of red, the sting of pain, is that the quantum wave is not just a probability cloud. It is a real field that carries the texture of experience itself. And in the warm, wet microtubules inside your neurons, the field is allowed to push back on the classical electrical fields that gave birth to it. Standard quantum theory is strictly one way, wave guides particle, particle never talks back. Sarfatti adds a tiny nonlinear term, completely invisible in single atoms, but explosive when 100 billion tubulins get quantum coherent at once. Suddenly the loop closes. The mind feels. The brain feels the mind feeling. And the whole system bootstraps itself into stable, self-aware consciousness. Sarfatti calls this post-quantum mechanics. And because the feedback is not linear, the signal that carries your thoughts to your own future can, under the right conditions, arrive before it is sent, while still preserving causality on average. That is the crack in the wall. That is where the other 7 universes can start to leak in. Here is the marriage of the 2 ideas. Take Penrose's 8 parallel timelines and label them with the 8 states of a 3-qubit system, 0000010, all the way to a 111. A normal sleeping brain lives almost entirely in one state, say 001, with a mind field that is basically a single complex number side out. A brain that reaches Sarfatti-level post-quantum coherence is no longer stuck. Its mind field becomes an 8-component vector, psi equals psi, psi2, psi3, psi4, psi5, psi6, psi7, psi8. Between these components sits an 8x8 unitary matrix, call it the timeline matrix T. When T is nearly diagonal, reality feels solid, linear, boring. When T develops large off-diagonal terms, when the phases start to dance, you begin to see, hear, and remember pieces of the other 7 universes at the same time. And here is the part that should make the hair on your arms stand up. In post-quantum theory, the matrix T is not fixed by physics alone. It is steered by the back reaction from the classical brain. Your attention, your fear, your longing, your focused intention literally change how much leakage you experience between timelines. Now bring in Jacques Vallée. For half a century, Vallée has collected cases where the phenomenon behaves less like nuts and bolts spacecraft and more like a deliberate manipulation of human consciousness. Craft that change shape in front of multiple witnesses. Hours of missing time. Beings that seem to know what you are thinking before you think it. A mixture of advanced technology and absurd, almost humorous impossibility. In the model we just built, this is exactly what happens when an intelligence that has already mastered post-quantum back reaction decides to reach across and tweak your timeline matrix for a few minutes. The craft is not flying through our atmosphere. It is adjusting the mixing angles so that, for a brief window, your consciousness is partially phased into 3 or 4 of the 8 universes simultaneously. The shape-shifting is the same object viewed under different stereographic projections. The missing time is your biological clock being pulled by 2 different time arrows at once. Remember, the 8-dimensional space has 2 positive time directions. But telepathy is direct entanglement of mind fields across the intersections. And the absurdity, the clownish, trickster quality that runs through so many close encounter reports? That is the signature of octonionic non-associativity leaking into a brain that only knows how to do arithmetic with real numbers. So the next time a fighter pilot, a police officer, or a child describes something that cannot possibly be true under the laws of one universe, remember that mathematics already demands 8 intersecting timelines. Remember that consciousness, according to the most advanced post-quantum physics, is a field that can reach back and edit its own quantum possibilities. And remember that a single 8x8 matrix contains more than enough freedom to let something step sideways out of one universe and knock gently on the inside of your mind. We are not waiting for aliens to cross the galaxy. Some of them may only need to cross a phase angle. The 8 universes are already here. The only question left is, which one are you paying attention to right now?